All right, so in this video, I'm going to go over how we grew our B2B SaaS company to over 2,500 new subscribers. And if you don't know me, my name is Alex, co-founder at Drippy, now a 7-figure SaaS company. And in this video, I'm just going to cover the main marketing channels that we used, our strategies, what worked, what didn't work. All right, so let's get right into it. In terms of marketing channels, there were really only 3 main ones that we used. Number 1 was Twitter DMs. Number 2 is content. I'm going to break that down into our different channels, what worked, what didn't work, and what we've learned. And number 3, which is very, very key for any funnel really, is an email newsletter and how we use that to convert people on the back end. All right, so our main marketing channel by far are Twitter DMs. And I mean, obviously it makes sense because Drippy, that's what it does. But we'll get into it and we'll try to be as unbiased as possible. And I'll walk you through kind of the stats, what we're sending, how it all works. So first of all, why the should anyone be running Twitter DMs? So number 1, it is the most untapped outbound method out there. It is the cheapest by far, and it is the most effective, at least in our data, okay? And if you have a look at anyone's cold email stats and compare them to our DM stats, there's levels, right? And I've looked at a bunch of like big cold email people's stats, and then I compare them to our stats, and I'm like, well, like people on email are raving about like 1.5 to 2% reply rates, and positive reply rates are super, super low. And we consistently get like through 1.5 million DMs, 45,000 total replies. That gives us a 3.1% average reply rate, and we average a 50% positive reply rate, right? Which is literally unheard of, and it does not happen in the cold email world. Now, why is Twitter outreach so effective? Like I said, there's not a lot of people doing it right now. You can send out a stupid amount of volume right now. So, and this might change in the future. I don't know. I'd hate to see this change, but right now, this is literally a screenshot from Twitter terms of service. You can send up to 500 direct messages per day per account. So just think about that and compare that to any other outreach method. So if we're talking cold email, you can send up to like 20, maybe 30 if you're really risky with your like per email inbox, right? So just compare that to 500. Like how many emails do you actually need to send 500 messages a day, right? And compare that to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like way lower and it's way more expensive to actually get multiple accounts. So not only the volume, but you also get direct access to decision makers where really no one else is reaching out to them, meaning there are no executive assistants in someone's like phone actually just replying to their DMs. You get access to decision makers that aren't on data platforms. That's a huge thing with cold email, right? It's like everyone scrapes from the same sources. And so if everyone scrapes from the same sources, you're all reaching out to the same exact people. There's no deliverability issues as long as you're verified. It really is a blue ocean right now. Now, obviously this will probably change within the next couple months, years. There is a high barrier to entry if you don't know what you're doing. And in this video, I'm going to walk through kind of how we do it. And the user base is consistently increasing now that Elon Musk took over. On the other hand, cold email, and at least what we've seen, number 1 and the biggest issue I think right now are the deliverability issues, right? Everyone's landing in spam. It's really hard to get deliverability right. There's obviously some deliverability wizards out there that don't have this issue, but it's like you can like I can count them with one hand, right? Like it's really not a lot of people that really know what they're talking about when it comes to cold email and deliverability. So that's a huge thing. You get low reply rates and even lower positive reply rates. Cold email costs are rising just because the volume is going down. So you need to buy more emails to hit the same results that you were getting previously. Same data platforms, meaning no fresh data. Everyone's hitting up the same people. A bunch of people always just out of office. And even if it's like just a regular ass month, an executive assistants taking over inboxes of like high performers, right? So the people you want to reach out to, they probably have assistants and they're the ones probably kind of blocking you from reaching whoever you want to reach. Okay, so cold Twitter DMs. How do you set this up? How do we set this up? Okay, so obviously you can just start with your own account, connecting it to Drippy AI. But if you really want to scale, you're going to have to add multiple accounts because obviously you can send 500 messages a day per account. You can do that with your own account. Maybe your sales reps can also add their account to Drippy, and then that works really, really well. However, what we've done and how we've been able to get these results is at any given time, we have between 30 and 100 accounts running. Okay, so just think about that freaking volume. And yes, it's a shit ton of volume, but this is how you set those accounts up. Okay, so all right, so first thing you need to do is you need to buy or make accounts, or kind of just ask someone for an account, right? Like if you have a big team, then just ask people on your team to give you accounts. That's probably the easiest way to do it. And if you're buying accounts, they don't necessarily have to be aged. What you do need them to be are email and phone verified, okay? If they're not email and phone verified, then it's just gonna be, you're just gonna add a bunch more steps. So wherever you're getting accounts from, just make sure they're email and phone verified. That's kind of like the biggest thing after going through thousands of accounts. That's what you need to find, okay? Email and phone verified accounts, and they're really not that expensive. There's a bunch of different providers out there. So just, again, find something that is email and phone verified. Then once you have the accounts on day one, you just want to log in, just act like a normal human being, interact with some people, like some stuff, add some comments, add some posts, comment on some stuff, and then that's it, right? And then day two is when you can actually start changing up the profile picture. You change the name and you change the username, okay? And you want the account to look as like normal as possible. You don't want to brand it to your company just yet. You do that until after the accounts are actually verified. But you do need the correct profile picture, name, and username right off the bat, because if you don't do that, once the account is verified and you try to change that, you'll have to re-verify the account, meaning it'll go back into revision. It'll take another like 3 to 5 days. So you'll just end up wasting like half a week, right? And you really don't want to do that. So, okay, we get the accounts, you wait 1 day, you change profile picture, name, username, then you have to wait another 3 days to actually verify the accounts. 3 days go by, you're able to buy the verifications. Now this is tricky because when you're doing this at scale, the issue becomes figuring out how to get a bunch of different cards to actually buy the verifications from, right? Because you can only use one card. You can't use one account to verify 100 accounts. It just doesn't work. Your account will get banned from Stripe, and so it just doesn't work. What you want to do is you want to use one card, debit or credit, doesn't matter, for every 2 Twitter accounts that you're setting up, okay? And that's kind of proven to be the most efficient way. You can stretch that card and get maybe 3 to 4 out of it, but the issue with that becomes that once you try with the 5th one and it declines, when you want to renew account 1, 2, 3, and 4, they won't auto renew next month. And so you'll have to go back. It just ends up being a whole disaster just because you try to stretch one account. And so now what we do, and it just ends up being way easier because they all auto charge next month, is you just want to make sure that you use one card for every 2 accounts, okay? And if you do that, you'll be good. So you buy verifications and then you wait 3 to 5 days for the verifications to actually appear. You optimize accounts to your business after the blue check appears, meaning you change cover photo, you change bio, you change website, you do all that stuff so that it looks good. You start adding content that has to do with your business, and then you launch a low volume campaign. All right, so that's it. That is how you want to set up accounts. Now, if you don't want to go through this whole thing of like setting up proxies and using VPN to actually buy the verifications, because it does get a little bit tricky, we actually have a one-time fee setup offer where we will give you as many verified accounts as you need at cost to us, meaning we will just charge you for the verification. We don't make any money on those. It's just to kind of give you accounts and for you to not have to go through this whole process of verifying, figure out where to get accounts, proxies, VPNs, all that sort of stuff. All right, so once you have a bunch of accounts, we add them to Drippy, we scrape leads, and then we start an automation, okay? Now, that is a whole process in and of itself. There are a bunch of other videos on this channel going through how to do that, so I'll just kind of link to those. I'm not going to go through the whole process on this video. This, I think, is probably the most accurate. In this specific video, the one titled, I sent 1,000 cold DMs a day to businesses for 30 days. So it goes over the script we're using, the lead magnets we're using, and how we're actually converting people on the back end, which we will get into through the email newsletter. So if you're about to start Twitter outreach, again, this is the process. So you connect all those accounts to Drippy, you scrape leads, you set up an automation, but I highly recommend that you watch this video because this will guide you and it'll show you the best way to set it up, right? Because if you don't set it up correctly, it's going to be a whole mess, just like with any other type of outreach. But this video walks through like exactly how we've been able to get the results that we've gotten. All right, so just a couple quick tips when it comes to getting the best results with Drippy and Twitter outreach in general. Number one, I just recorded a video titled Best Offers for Twitter DMs in 2025. It's not up yet at the time of me recording this video, which is why it's not linked here, but I'll probably just link it here. And that covers kind of just throughout all of our users what we've seen work best right now. Okay, so what offers you can actually sell that the market is buying, okay? Which is super, super key because this is different than what I've seen through other outreach methods or through ads or whatever. So you actually know what to sell and what those DMs actually look like. Okay, so that video covers, and there's scripts, all that stuff is there. So you can literally just copy and paste. But in short, this is what's working the best, okay? Value-based lead magnet messages and setup offers. That's it. Like that is what's working the absolute best. So I highly recommend you go with one of these two, okay? Either a super valuable lead magnet. The thing with lead magnets is you need to know how to actually monetize them, which again, that video covers how we do it and how I suggest you do it as well if you're doing Twitter DMs. And setup offers as well. People don't want to buy monthly recurring offers right now. However, it is way easier to get someone to buy a setup offer. You show your value, and then you can get them on a recurring retainer. So that's number one. You need a good offer, and these are the offers that are working the best. Okay, so either value-based lead magnet or setup offers, and that's just what's working right now. Again, highly recommend you watch the video titled Best Offers for Twitter DMs in 2025. All right, so number two is you really need to find ways to stand out. There's a couple ways to do this. Either you are targeting people that no one else targets. Like if you hit people that no one else is hitting, then like you're gonna have a breeze. But if your niche is something where you know other people are hitting them, then there's two ways to stand out. Okay, number one, you want to provide a ton of value. And I know this is like everyone talks about this, but people don't do it, or at least people don't do it enough, right? Because I get a ton of DMs and everyone is just asking for stuff, right? No one is actually giving value. And again, this video goes over a bunch of different examples. And you also want to personalize, okay? I can't stress this enough. If you provide personalized value at scale, like you will win with Twitter outreach, okay? And if you can do this, you'll get results like we have and sign a ton of clients, pretty much guaranteed. And we do have an offer, again, single one-time fee where we kind of set this whole system up for you. You own it. You get 10 plus verified accounts. We optimize the accounts. We do the account warm up. We will create your DM strategy. You'll get personalized scripts. We will create the follow-up sequences. We will scrape the leads. We will do the whole drippy setup. You'll get a dedicated cold DM expert in your corner, and you also get weekly community coaching calls with me. And those are the cheapest calls you'll ever get with me. So highly recommend you check this out. There is a link down below in the description to this Gamma document where you can book a call with us if that is something that you want to explore. Now, do Twitter DMs actually work? Because I know a lot of people maybe haven't tried them yet, a bunch of stuff, right? So here are some examples from our campaigns, right? And like I said, Twitter DMs are the number one way that we acquire clients right now. So 1.4 million DMs sent, 45,000 total replies, an average of a 3.1% reply rate with an average of a 50% positive reply rate. Meaning in the last 6 months, we've booked almost 900 meetings, 1,200 new subscribers, and that is just from August 2024 to January 2025, okay? 892 qualified booked calls and more than 1,200 new subscribers, okay? And here you can just see some of our campaigns, 5.2% reply rate, 50% positive reply rate, again, 50% positive reply rate. And it's not like we're sending just a couple messages, right? This is almost 4,000 messages, 2.5 thousand messages, 8,000 messages, 5% reply rate, 35% positive, a 50% positive reply rate. It's literally crazy. You don't see this anywhere, okay? And again, the way to do this is this right here. Figure out a way to stand out. We're providing a ton of value. We're personalizing every single message, and we are using one of the offers that just work really well, okay? So again, watch this video. Both of these videos cover the exact same strategy we're using, so I highly recommend you check these out. Now, okay, just a bunch of more results. There we go. You can kind of go through these. Again, link to the Gamma document down below in the description. All right, so pillar number two. Number one is Twitter DMs. We've gone through that. Number two is going to be content, and there's two main channels that we're focused on. Number one is Twitter, and number two is YouTube, okay? For Twitter, the strategy is more volume to kind of see what works, okay? So we try to combine volume with value. Now, just comparing Twitter to YouTube, and I will get into YouTube in our strategy right now, but in my eyes, Twitter is way more of a volume platform compared to YouTube, where YouTube is way more of like actually providing value, where you want more quality than quantity, okay? But Twitter is really great to know what works, okay? Because you can just kind of throw everything at the wall on Twitter, figure out what works, and then kind of just do that, and essentially just take whatever concept is working really well on Twitter, and you can turn that into some longer form content. All right, so and this is from yesterday. So 23 tweets, 15 tweets is our average in the last week. In the last 30 days, 366 tweets. So as you can see, it's a lot of volume. And in the last 6 months, this has resulted in almost 20,000 followers and a ton of new drippy users. Okay, so as you can see, 18.8K followers. I think Twitter is a great one, not only like for us, because like our product is like purely, or at least right now is purely Twitter based. But Twitter is a great way for you to not only connect with other founders, but for you to like share what you're doing in public and kind of start building your personal brand, which I think is really, really valuable. And so for an in-depth view into how to come up with fresh new content every single day, again, there's another video titled How to Turn Twitter into Your Best Performing Sales Channel with just 30 minutes of setup. And that goes through the whole system in depth, okay? But in short, let me walk you through it. So number one, you need to come up with your topics, okay? So you want to ask yourself, what are the different things I could talk about that have something to do with what I sell? So for example, here I would talk about Twitter DMs, growing a SaaS, right? Just outreach in general, how to scrape leads, script writing, right? So there's a bunch of different things that I can talk about that have something to do with what we're selling. And so you just want to make this list maybe between 10 and 20 different topics that you can talk about. Then once you have your general topics, you want to come up with 10 subtopics under each major topic. And the easiest way to do this is by asking yourself questions about the main topic. So for example, here for the first one, Twitter DMs, I would ask, how do I set up campaigns? How much volume can I send? What's another one? Like, where do I get accounts? Does this work? Right? So on and so forth. And so you start building out, and the easiest way to do this is to have your general topics kind of be one row on a Google Sheet and then have all your questions underneath. And that typically works the best. And then essentially now you have another two options, right? Because now you know exactly what you can write about. And it's really easy because you literally just sit down and you just start answering questions and you turn them into content. All right, so now you got your topics and your subtopics and you know what you can talk about. You got another two options, okay? So number one, you can either just start writing, like right off the bat, just start writing, like sit down and just start answering questions. Or my preferred method is you record yourself talking about one of the topics, okay? Or a couple of them, right? And so if you record yourself talking about a specific topic for 10 minutes, not only will you have a podcast in your hands, but if you have a content team, or maybe you don't want to actually like sit down and write the content, maybe you don't like it, maybe you don't have time, whatever it is, your content team will be able to write in your exact voice. And that's kind of one of the hardest things to duplicate. Whenever you have some kind of ghostwriter or a content team and it's not actually you writing the content, and there's obviously people that are really, really good at this, but it's you just make their lives easier if you record yourself doing it. Why? Because the odds are they're not experts at what you're doing specifically. So by you literally talking into a microphone, it doesn't even have to be like this whole setup. It just has to be like maybe on your phone, you just shoot it via like iMessage or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Like they will have like your exact voice, then they can just create way better content whenever you give them all of the actual resources that they need. So that's if you have a content team. And if you don't have a content team, or if you're going to like actually write out the content yourself, just recording what you want to say will really just speed up your workflow. And it just makes it way easier for you to actually like turn that voice note into content. And so that's the unlimited content protocol that I've learned just throughout these last couple months. However, if you want to get a ton of new followers, you not only have to make just like regular ass tweets, you also have to do a bunch of long form threads. That's where most of our followers come from. Again, it's threads. And if you want an in-depth tutorial about threads and like a detailed breakdown, again, go to the video and I'll link it here. It's not up yet, which is why I haven't linked them. How to turn Twitter into your best performing sales channel with just 30 minutes of setup, in-depth analysis. But again, in short, this is what you want to focus on. So always like you need a super, super strong hook and an image that grabs people's attention. Okay. And you want to make these threads very high curiosity, and the ones that have worked the best for us typically have something slightly controversial that people can kind of like fight over in the comments. Okay. Now, it's not always like super intentional, but whenever that happens, like those tweets go mega viral, okay? So once you have a really strong hook and image and the hook sparks some kind of curiosity, then you want to dive deep into the topic. I think like the main thing is picking out a really good topic, having a really good hook. The image definitely matters, but then you want to dive into the topic. You want to make it easy to read, and then you want to figure out a way to plug whatever you're selling as well. Okay, so figure out a way to link whatever the tweet topic is to your actual service. And we always plug Drippy in some kind of very smooth way. It just works out really, really well. We add links in there as well. And so people can click those links and go to our website. And if you do that correctly, you'll get like a ton of eyeballs on your SaaS, okay? And this has worked really, really well for us. So for example, this tweet, and you can access these tweets down below in the description. There's gonna be a link to this Gamma document. You can click to go ahead and look at these tweets so you can study them, analyze kind of what makes a good hook. So this tweet got 1.5 million impressions and 12 million views, okay? So 12 million new eyeballs on Drippy. Just think about the value in that. This one got 1 million impressions, 3.3 million views, 800,000 impressions, 3.3 million views. This one only got 36,000 impressions, 1 million views, but it also got a comment by Elon Musk. Okay, so just think about how crazy that is. And Twitter is the only platform where this will happen, okay? So again, links to this if you want to go check it out down below in the description. And so that's why we love Twitter so much. Not only is it really good for outreach, but it's also really good to build out your founder brand. All right, now the second pillar to our content strategy is YouTube. And YouTube is a very, very, very different game to Twitter. Like I said, not only does it take a lot more effort, in my opinion, it's also a lot more difficult to go viral, okay? I think our biggest video right now is Alex Hormozi video. It's got maybe like 7.5 thousand views, but that video, like that script was insanely good. And it took me 5 hours just to record, plus all the hours of actually like making the script, which was our content agency at the time. But yeah, no, like it takes a bunch of effort, and I'm by no means a YouTube expert, but I've been doing it for a little bit now. And so this is what's just worked for us, because yes, number one are Twitter DMs for us in terms of lead flow, but number two is YouTube. Okay. And YouTube is huge, huge, huge. So number one, I would say optimize for sales, not views, if you're trying to grow a company on YouTube. Okay. So not all views are equal. I'd way rather get less views and more sales than less sales, but go mega viral, right? Because if the people that are watching the video have no purchasing power, then like it doesn't even matter, right? And it's just speaking to your target audience the right way. Because if you don't position your content the right way, you might end up attracting a different type of prospect. Like, it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, because maybe they will still buy, but it's not your perfect ICP to where they're going to get the best results using your product. You really have to be careful how you portray yourself in your videos, what actual language you use, and who you're talking to. So I think that is huge. And that just goes with optimizing for sales, not views, because to go mega viral, it can't be like super niche down, right? A video about Twitter DMs won't go mega viral, but a video about Twitter DMs and a really like high quality video about Twitter DMs will reach people that are already looking for Twitter DMs, right? And so whenever someone's in the market for a Twitter DM platform and they see one of our videos, it's like, okay, well, these guys, but those videos don't go mega viral just because of the nature of the topic. All right, so number two is prioritizing providing value over volume on YouTube. So, and this is a mistake I feel we made. A couple of videos out right now, I feel like are very commercial and only give value at a superficial level, which I'm not super happy with. But now that's why I'm making these gamma document type of videos where I'm going all out on providing as much value as possible. And this was an idea from Daniel Fazio. So shout out to my guy, Daniel. He's the best. But now these videos take me like way longer, not only to produce, like to write out the gamut, it takes me like 3 hours plus another like hour or two to actually sit down and record, right? So it takes a lot more effort than just kind of getting a script from your content team and just sitting down and recording it. But it's the same thing that I was talking about before. It's like, yes, these guys like know YouTube very well, but they don't know your topic, right? And so sometimes it's hard to keep up with the value whenever you're going really hard on volume, which is why we kind of decided to make the switch to, okay, we're going to just put out super high value based gamma documents, just going over what we're doing and what's working for us, right? So that's what we're doing now. And this is very in line with the previous point, which is optimized for sales, not views. Now we're probably not going to go mega viral with these videos. We're probably going to get less views. It doesn't really matter, because the views will be a lot more targeted and we're just going to be providing a lot more value. So that is kind of the point there. Now, another thing, packaging matters a lot. Like, you can have great content without editing, but if you don't have good packaging, meaning thumbnail, title, and hook, nobody will ever see your stuff. And so it kind of defeats the purpose, right? And so you really have to make your stuff like seem attractive to begin with, and then you provide a ton of value within the video so that people actually stick around and watch. But if the packaging isn't there, then you're pretty much screwed. No one's gonna actually watch your content if it's even if it's the best thing in the world, unless you have a huge brand, okay? But if you're kind of starting in the YouTube game, packaging is super key. And lastly, case study videos are great to have, and we have a ton of them on our YouTube channel. I'm not 100% sure if YouTube is the best place for them, okay? So how it was explained to me is that you could have a video pop off, and then the algorithm will feed your next video to the people that watched and enjoyed or like stayed on for a long time on your previous video, so the one that popped off. And so if your next video sucks, then the momentum is completely gone for your YouTube channel. Client interviews just have a different, they're there for a different reason. They're not meant to be like instructional. They're meant to show that you get results. However, they typically aren't the best in terms of like YouTube algorithm, right? So case studies are great. And obviously you do need like client interviews and client case studies, all that stuff is beautiful. However, they typically, or at least in like the type that we record, typically kill YouTube momentum just a tiny little bit. And this was explained to me by another YouTube agency, and they really know what they're talking about. And that's kind of the feedback that they gave us on our channel. It's like, all right, well, you made this post, this went kind of viral. The second one got like, yes, more views than normal, but not as many as it could have, just because it wasn't the same type of video, right? And so kind of just keeping your videos as high value as possible. so that the algorithm keeps feeding them to the people that enjoyed your previous videos, is what I've seen work best. Okay. And so now we're going for 2 very, very big value-based YouTube videos a week with opt-ins on all of them. So like I said, to get access to this Gamma document, you can opt in down below. We're going to ask for your details, and then you will be added to our newsletter as well, right? Which is our third thing, which is huge, 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 huge. Not enough people talk about this. It's a super, super underrated way, but very, very necessary, okay? There's so many upsells and conversions that actually come through newsletter, and you don't even kind of like notice it because it is a little bit harder to track unless you're using something like Kairos where you can see kind of like everything. But the protocol, at least for me right now, is 1 newsletter per day, Monday through Friday. Now you can do more, and I've seen people do like 3 to 5 newsletters a day. If you're doing it yourself, it's kind of hard to put out that much content. However, 1 newsletter per day, I think is very, very doable, especially if you're already doing other types of content. You can kind of just take that same topic and just turn it into a longer piece of content. And if you do this consistently, you'll see results. And kind of how this works is people opt in because they got value in the first place, right? So that's how people opt in. And then you just keep hitting them with value every single day. They look at your name every single day. They think about your company every single day whenever you're in their inbox. And so they end up converting. Maybe it takes a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, they will end up converting just because of the sheer amount of volume that you're providing them. Another big thing that a lot of people talk about is like people have different opinions on how often you should actually do like a sales or like a very salesy newsletter, just providing value. Okay. And so my split is I literally never do like sales newsletters. When I was writing this, I was like thinking about like, have I ever done one? So I've done 2. It was Black Friday last year and Black Friday the year before that. So those are the only 2 like actual just like sales newsletters that I've ever put out. But the thing is, those work really well because if all you do is just provide value every single day, and then once a year you hit your list with a sales email, it just feels like a way better relationship to have. And again, this is what's worked for me. I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. It's just what works for us. And especially like when you do make those like strong calls to action for people to actually buy something, it ends up converting just way, way, way better. Or at least in our experience, right? And so all I really do is plug our upsells in the PS section of the emails. And so this is what they look like right now. So we have 3 PSs, right? The first one is wants to build you an automated Twitter outreach system for a one-time fee. Book a call here. The second one is get more Twitter outreach tips on our YouTube channel. So again, providing more value. And the third one is, again, more value, like need extra help, email support@drippy.ai or join our weekly coaching calls here, right? So we're just providing value 24/7. The only call to action really is, hey, it is in the PS. So it's not even like a strong call to action. It's just like super, super subtle. If you want us to build you an automated Twitter outreach system for a one-time fee, book a call here, right? And this typically works the best. And yes, like every day we're sending these 3 and it's just been working nicely. And that's it. That is literally all I plug. And we consistently get between 5 and 10 new done for you sales calls per week. So yes, it's super, super high ROI, just sitting down and writing your newsletters on a daily basis. All right, so how do you come up with newsletter ideas? And again, I kind of talked about this already, but pretty simple. I typically just keep my topics the same across different types of content per day, right? So, and we just recently started doing shorts, so we don't have too much data there, which is why I haven't talked about it in this video. So if those pieces of content were on conversion mechanisms for that specific day, then it's very easy for me to write a newsletter about conversion mechanisms, right? Like Twitter DM conversion mechanisms, like how to get people to actually convert after they reply. And so you kind of just expand on the tweets that you wrote out. And obviously if you run out of ideas, you can always just hit Claude with a quick, like, hey, I own a SaaS company that helps B2B companies book more sales calls through automated personalized Twitter DMs. Can you give me some good newsletter topics to write about? Remember, these need to be value-based, right? And then there you go. Claude will give you a bunch of different newsletter topics to write about. And it can even help you write some out. Typically what you want to do with those, and I've done this in the past too, like it'll give you a nice topic and then you can like train it on your previous newsletters. And then it gets pretty good. I never just do like Claude to like the list. However, Claude is good to give you like maybe the first 20 to 50%. And then you go in, you edit some stuff, you add some stuff, you take some stuff away, you make it your own, and then you end up sending it out. And then that's it. Newsletters once a day and you will be good to go. And that's literally it. That is how we've been able to scale our SaaS company to over 2,500 new subscribers. So if you have a good product, you do Twitter DMs, you do content everywhere, but can focus on a specific few, you provide a value in your email newsletters, you'll be able to add at least an extra 50K in MRR within a couple months. And if you want to try out Drippy for free for yourself, there is a link down below in the description for a 7-day free trial or 250 messages. That is pretty much it. Again, access to this Gamma document down below in the description. I appreciate you, and we will speak soon. Peace.